Hi guys, my name is Destiny and this is my Flosstube channel, Stitching with Bird. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. I appreciate you all being here. I just wanted to start out with a quick thank you to Beth over at the Steadfast Stitcher for shouting me out in one of her recent videos. And if you came over from her, thank you for supporting my channel and all the things. So today is July 3rd of 2026. I am not where I usually am, so I'm in a different area. I'm actually not at the same house that I usually film at, so that's not just a different area. I'm literally at a different house. What am I saying? That being said, there is noise here more than usual. I do have an air conditioning going. I'm not sure if you can hear it on video or not, but if you can, I apologize for that. And I also have my cats here. So I have 4 cats in here with me. So you may hear running, shuffling noises, things falling. The last couple videos that I have tried to make, this is like my 5th or 6th try at making this video. The window is over here and they like to sit in the window, so they keep jumping up and on the bed that I'm sitting on up into the window, and it shakes the camera. So if that keeps happening, I'm sorry. They're cats, they do what they want. I just live here. One of them staring at me like, what are you doing? So I do have distractions here, so I'm sorry for that. But it is July 3rd, so I wanted to do my June recap, but also I wanted to do something a little bit different than what I usually do. Everybody else is kind of doing their mid-year whip parade, and I don't feel like I have a lot to show for a mid-year whip parade, so I'm going to do a mini mid-year whip parade and my June recap. So that's what this is today. So yeah. My last whip parade was in December, or like end of November, December. There were a couple things that I started that I had showed in like my recap in December. I don't actually have that stuff with me today, so I have stuff that I started in January all the way until now, so that's what I'm going to be showing. So I don't have anything from 2025. And there was only like 2 or 3 things that I started. But, if you want to see those, you can go look at those in my past videos. So I will just start with from January until now. I haven't started anything recently, so pretty much it's just from January until May. So yeah, we'll get started. So the first thing that I started was the Flower Day Sal by Carolyn Manning, and I'm stitching this on 18 Count Meditation by Picture This Plus, and I started this on January 9th. And some of these I did work on for the month of June, so that's kind of why I'm doing it this way. So I do have stitch counts for some of these that I will kind of give you as I'm doing my whip parade. Some of them I haven't worked on, so I'll tell you which ones I have, which ones I haven't by the stitch counts. But this one I did add 75 stitches into. And then I realized that I had made a mistake, so I had to undo and redo some of the stitches, and I just still have a couple more to do. This is like a purple kind of mottled. This is what the stitching looks like up close. So the mistake that I made was I realized that I was stitching this with 1 strand and I was using 2. So I had to go back and pick out the 2 strands and restitch some of the ones that I had done that on. And then I added in the 1 strand. So everything that I stitched is technically still stitched here, but some of them I still need to take out, like these 2 flowers here. Those still have 2 strands. And all of these little green bits in there, those ones still need to come out and be restitched, but that's pretty much what I did on it. So it still technically has all the stitches that I did. Some of them are just wrong. And then the next thing that I started was 2026 Blackwork Sal by the Steady Thread, and I'm doing this on 16 count Dolomite by Fiber on a Whim, and I started this on January 16th of 2026. And this one I also have been thinking about picking out. I do like the color that I picked for the actual flowers, this red pink color. But the more that I look at it, the more I'm realizing that the green kind of ghosts, and I don't really like it like I thought I did. So I think I'm going to pick out the green and make it a darker green, and hopefully that'll help me like it a little bit more. For those ones, I don't count stitches because it's black work and I use Pattern Keeper. So my cats are chasing each other. Hold. Okay, sorry. Like I was saying, I don't count stitches for those ones because I use Pattern Keeper, and obviously Pattern Keeper doesn't do back stitching or black work, so I don't count stitches. I also didn't work on that one, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just rambling. So the next thing that I had started was Letters from Nora, and I'm doing the letter D, and I'm doing this on 32 count Water Lily, and this is actually the called for fabric that they used. And I started this on January 24th of 2026. This one also, it's not very far. So this brown part right here is the actual letter, and then all the little pink and purple clusters there, those are all supposed to be flowers, and I do have back stitching that I haven't done, obviously. So yeah, that's what that is. Didn't work on that one as well. The next thing that I started was the Cherry Blossom Creek by Dimensions, and I started, I stitched this on the called for Aida, and it's 16 count blue Aida. And I started this on March 26th of 2026, and this is what it looks like. So I didn't work on this one either. So this is so what I had done before. I blanked on what I was going to say. Anyways, okay, I remember now. The last time I worked on it, I think was like April, and then I haven't touched it since. So yeah. This next one that I started, I did work on, and this is Harbor Haven by the Bay Needle Art, and I'm stitching this on 14 count Touch of Blue Aida, and I started this on April 17th of 2026, and I did add 247 stitches into it in the month of June, so this is what it looks like. I did add all of the red stitches in here that are supposed to be flowers, and then I added like this darker brown color and this lighter tan color. That's like a driveway to a house, so that's that one. And the next one that I started, I had talked about in my last Flosstube. This is The Museum After Midnight by Lola Cross Stitch, and I'm doing this on 18 count Royal Haven by Barefoot Needle Art. And I originally started this on May 7th of 2026, and I restarted it on June 27th of 2026, and I did start it. Obviously, I just said that. I restarted it, and I added 173 stitches into it. So this is actually the full piece. And I love this fabric way better than the other one. Everything shows up nicely on it, obviously, because it was what it originally was stitched on. So, of course, it looks nice. But yeah, that's what that looks like. And then this is the last one. And This is Hot Air Balloon by Greg Giordano, charted by HAED, and I'm stitching this on 25 count easy grid Lugana, and I started this on May 9th of 2026. And I did work on this one as well. This one I added 141 stitches into. So I worked on this darker blue color, and this is all like the sky area in the background. And that is pretty much it for my mini mid-year whip parade. I did want to show a previous finish that I have, because at where I usually film, I didn't have this, and I remembered that I had it when I was here. So this is called, my cat's about to jump up in the window and it's gonna shake. Yep. This is called Frogs by La Selva Design on Etsy, and this pattern actually had 2 frogs that came in it, so this is the one that I did. And I am unsure of the actual date that I finished it, but if you notice, I did initially input that I finished it in 2024. I'm just not sure on the exact date, obviously, because it's not something that I was keeping track of at the time. So there's a mini finish. I rarely ever have finishes, but that was a previous one, so I figured I would show it because it was one that I kept for myself. And I will actually add in photos of what the original pattern looks like so you can see the other frogs and what it looks like, because they're both so cute. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was my whips, and the first one that I worked on was the Deadly Aquarium Sal by Lola Cross Stitch, and I'm doing this on 14 count white Ada that I writ dyed myself. And it says that I added 23 stitches in. I cannot tell you where I added those 23 stitches in, because this was back in the very beginning of June, and yeah, so that's what it looks like. No idea where I added the stitches in, but they're on there somewhere. And the next thing that I worked on was Nostalgic Tarot Cards, and this is by the Witchy Stitcher, and I'm doing this on 18 count Celestine by Fiber on a Whim, and I'm doing I did 154 stitches on it. This is Rosie. Say hi, Wody. Hi, Wody. Okay, what I was saying. I did 154 stitches on this one. The original piece that the fabric they used for the original piece, sorry, I like brain farted for sure on that one, was Black Ada, and I don't do well with Black Ada, so I switched mine around, and I'm doing it on this light blue color one. And they used white floss for the Black Ada, so I switched mine around, and I'm doing black thread on a lighter Ada, obviously. So I added a crust on this top part. This was technically not a stitch along, but she did make a giant frame to put all the tarot cards into, so I wanted to stitch them all together and do the frame. Like I said, I don't do well on Black Ada, and I was not going to stitch all of those cards on Black Ada. That's why I chose a different colorway. So I will be doing the rest of the cards and all that in the called for colors, but the frame, I obviously, the white wouldn't show up very well on that color, so I chose to do black for that. So the next thing that I worked on was the Supernatural Style by the Witchy Stitcher, and I'm doing this on 18 count white Ada, and I did add 90 stitches into this. I added into the vampire on the dress part. I had finished the frame already, and the little, these are candlesticks, I believe. So I just added literally just this dress part. And I will actually show you. This is what the whole thing looks like now. I'm almost done with all the little frames. And I actually realized as I was stitching on this that I hadn't finished all of the big frame. So I have like the candlesticks here are back stitched, and then there's like some skulls, and along the sides here there are bats that I haven't added in yet. So I think next time I pull this out, I'm gonna see if I have the colors, and then I'm gonna finish up the big frame and then continue to work on the little frames and see how far I can get on that. And then the next thing that I worked on, I'm pretty excited to show you, is my HAED Stitch Along for 2026. I'm doing the pattern Glistening Wings, which is the dragonfly pattern. And this is designed by L&L Designs and charted by HAED. And I'm doing it on 25 count easy grid Lugana. And I actually added 2,085 stitches into this, and I finished my very first page. So, my cat. Onyx, no. Anyways, what I was saying before I was really interrupted. This is my first page finish. I am really excited. My goal is to try to finish the 6 pages. I'm extremely behind. I'm aware that I'm extremely behind. I've been doing the math on it and doing extra stitches where I can to add in as much as I can to try to catch up. So that's what that looks like. And then the very last thing that I stitched on is One Nation by Bygone Stitches, and I'm doing this on 32 count Country French Cafe Mocha, and I added 133 stitches to it, and that's what it looks like. A lot of people are stitching this year for the 250th year. I don't have a lot of patriotic like stitching that I do, but I liked this one because it reminded me of my grandpa and I was stitching it for him. Obviously, like I said in the video that I had originally posted, my grandfather passed away, so I haven't really wanted to work on it because it's kind of hard. But I figured it's almost 4th of July. Tomorrow's 4th of July. I should probably pull something out that is patriotic, so I decided to just pull it out. And I had only had like to here on it, and so I added this whole other half and down, and this is where the stars are. So whenever I finish like the outline, I will start filling in the stars and hopefully get more on that done. And that was pretty much it for my stitching. So total I did 3,121 stitches for the month of June. And I'm actually pretty proud of that number. I know a lot of it was on my HAED sal, but I worked hard to try to do as many stitches as I could. So I did want to show something else that I made, and I'm not the greatest person at sewing, but I did make myself a project bag, and I'm trying to get a hair off of it because there's a cat hair on it. I did make myself a project bag, and by no means is this perfect or great, but it's functional, so I wanted to show it because I thought it was cute. I made a vinyl front bag for myself. Don't look too closely because it looks, again, not great, but it's functional. And this is the back of it. I struggled to make this because the vinyl kept coming out of where I was sewing, and I was sewing the binding here, trying to get the vinyl in there, and I missed it several times. I am not a fan of the vinyl front bags, so I don't know if I'll make another one for a while. I kind of wanted to try my hand at a different kind of bag, maybe like a quilted one where it's fabric on the front instead of the vinyl. But I thought that it still came out pretty good for my first one, and this was really my favorite fabric. I got this from Joann's before they closed. I would go continuously buy fabric to make project bags and then not make them, so I figured, you know, I should probably at least make one. So I actually did bring more fabric with me to try to make one today, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's my project bag. I'm, again, not the greatest person at sewing, but I was super excited that I actually made something. So we'll see how the other ones turn out. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was haul. This I technically bought on the 1st of July, but I know that I'll forget that I bought them, so I figured I should probably just throw them in here while I remember. So HAED is having a 4th of July sale, which means that most of their charts are regularly priced like $19. Some are a little more, give or take. Some are a little less because they're minis, but a lot of them are $19, and with the sale they are down to $9.50. And so I bought 3 charts, and I will add in photos of what they look like as I'm talking about them, you know, whenever I edit this. So the first one that I bought is called I See You in My Dreams, and the artwork is by Jenovia Art, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, obviously. That's what HAED stands for, if you didn't know that. So I bought that. The next one that I bought is Garden Gate by Dona Gelsinger, charted by, again, HAED, because I bought it from them for the sale. And then the last one is called Gardener's Paradise by Dona Gelsinger again, and this is again charted by HAED. I am doing my first HAED, which is the stitch along. Obviously, I think that I mentioned that. I may have not mentioned that, but I was thinking it. My Sal is my first HAED, and then ever since I've been stitching that, I've become obsessed, and I've just been, every time there's just a sale, I buy charts. So I bought those. And then the next thing that I wanted to kind of talk about was life updates. I did finish my first class for my summer semester. I passed it with an A, and I still have 5 classes left. 3 of them end this month, on the 16th through the 18th. So, yeah, I'll have 2 classes left, and those will end in August. So then my summer semester will be done, and I will be done with my associate's degree. I am still deciding whether or not I want to further my education and try to get my bachelor's. I think that I want to go talk to the counselors at my current school to see what my options are, what schools I can go to, make sure I met all my requirements that I need to transfer somewhere else, and all that good stuff. So I'm still kind of weighing my options. And then I kind of talked about in my last Flosstube that my husband and I were going on a little getaway, and we did do that, and it was actually a lot of fun. I was trying to finish all my homework to not have to work on homework while I was there, but I ended up having to do homework anyways. But it was still nice to have a change of scenery and like just be somewhere else while I'm doing my homework. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about was Great America, which I had talked about again in my last Flosstube. We did end up going to Great America, and my husband and I do not have children. We have 4 cats, obviously, like I said. We've been trying to have children for the last 5 years, and I have a condition called PCOS. If you don't know what that is, they actually just renamed it to PMOS. It's basically just a metabolic disorder where my hormones are crazy and it causes like irregular periods, infertility, which is what I'm experiencing. I'm sure you can notice I have facial hair. It causes all kinds of crazy things. I'm type 2 diabetic because of it. I am at a higher risk for heart disease and all kinds of like cancer if I don't have regular periods and stuff like that. And I try not to talk about like my personal, health conditions, but I figured I should probably at least mention it. It is kind of relevant to why we left. A lot of the park at Great America was more focused on children. I obviously, because I'm type 2 diabetic and I have the PCOS, I am overweight. It makes it easier to gain weight and very hard to lose weight. So I didn't fit in a lot of the rides there. And then a lot of them were focused, like I said, on children. So my husband and I didn't really have a lot that we could do there. My family went and did whatever they wanted. My older sister has 2 boys. I have 2 sisters. I'm the middle child. My older sister has 2 boys, and my little sister has a little boy as well. So they were focused on hanging out with their kids and doing what they wanted, and my parents kind of went off and did, whatever they wanted and hung out with my nephews, and that's fine. But it was kind of like not as fun as I thought it was going to be, and not really where I'm at in my life, which obviously I don't have children, so there wasn't really a lot that I felt like we could do. And that's no shade like thrown at the park or anything like that. It just wasn't for us at this time. We did end up leaving early. We stayed there for like 2 hours, wrote a couple of things, and then we decided that we just wanted to leave, and we went on a lunch date, and we had Red Robin. There was a Red Robin, I think it was only like 7 minutes away from the park. So we went and had lunch there, and then we drove home and kind of did what we wanted. And I still had fun that day. So even though we didn't really stay and do as much as I thought we would, I still had a good day, and I still enjoyed spending time with my husband. And that was pretty much it for like life updates. The last thing that I wanted to do was shout outs again. I wanted to shout out again and give Beth a thank you for shouting me out. Like I said, her name is the Steadfast Stitcher, and I really just appreciate you giving me a shout out and bringing your people over here. It means a lot, and I'm really thankful. So the next person that I wanted to shout out was Stitching with Mel, and obviously her name is Mel. She recently just had a big finish. She was stitching a portrait that she had customized of her dog named Dizzy, and I thought that it was a really nice piece that she had finished off. It's a full coverage piece, and it's fairly large, so I thought, that's kind of a big accomplishment. I should probably... My cat is rubbing her face on my phone. Sorry. This video is just chaos. I'm sorry. Like I was saying, I thought it was really cool and a big accomplishment that she finished all that. So I wanted to shout her out and say congratulations on your finish. That's a big thing that you should be proud of. The next person that I wanted to shout out was Crafting Gamey Jamie. And I like watching her videos because they're kind of different from the average Flosstube videos. Her videos are usually shorter, which is easier for me to watch because I have a hard time sitting still for a long time. The way that she has her videos is like she will show you, I'm working on this day. I'll come back and show you my progress. So in the same video, she will come back and like put different clips together and show you all of her progress. So you sit down, you can see all of her progress and in one sitting, and it's really nice because it's just makes things easier. I wish that I could sit down and do that, but I feel like I would forget to do that. But also, I'm chaotic, so it doesn't work out for me. I like coming down and sitting and feeling like I am having a conversation with you guys, which she does do. She comes in, she show you all of her progress, you know, and then she also knits and talks about games and books and stuff like that. But, you know, I like the way that her videos are set up versus how mine are set up, but I just don't feel like I personally would be good at it, so this is how I do my videos. And then the last person that I wanted to shout out is Slow Snail Stitching, and her name is Sam. I just recently started watching her Flosstube. I know that she's not a newer Flosstuber, but she's newer to me, so I wanted to kind of shout her out. I enjoy watching her videos. I like her aesthetic. She also has books and stuff that she talks about, so I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, that was pretty much all that I had to talk about. So I think this is pretty much it for my video. Thank you for sticking around if you did. I appreciate your support. And if not, I will never know. It's fine. So thank you again for sticking around if you did. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.